So jumping straight into the open gym, which is really the meat of the topic tonight with badminton. And so I have all in my brain, a lot of information that I'm not going to share with you tonight because it's almost 20 years of information. So I'm trying to summarize it for you this evening. I know I just dated myself. And so the Parks and Community Services Department has been offering open gym for over 25 years. And that predates when we opened Iron Horse and Pine Valley Gym in 2001. Brad was actually here for open gyms before we actually started them at the Iron Horse Gym. We used to do it at some of the high schools when we would utilize their facilities. And so initially when we were offering open gym, it was just for just for basketball and volleyball, because that is the programs that were most popular at that point. But as our community grew, the demand for more programs grew as well. And so that was when we got a request for badminton and later down the road, pickleball as well. And so when open gym badminton program began, we actually started it at the Iron Horse Gym, and where we're utilizing portable badminton stanchions, nets, taping the lines on the floor. And to be quite honest, people didn't really care for that. And so we did what we could for what we had at the time, but then we were fortunate enough that the school district built Windermere Ranch Middle School first. And when they built that facility, they actually put the badminton cores in the court and they painted the lines on the courts. And so at that point, we started offering badminton programs up at Windermere Ranch because that's what we were hearing from our community that they wanted was the permanent equipment with the lines so they're not just tape on the floor. And so as Gale Ranch was built, we moved the open gym program over to Gale Ranch. And so we were offering badminton open gym on Tuesday nights at Gale Ranch. And then we also started offering it on Sundays at Gale Ranch as well. And so both of these gymnasiums are similar in size to Pine Valley. So they're the smaller 2-court gym. And so they can accommodate 6 badminton courts. And the city continued to rent the gym from the school district for many years until 2022, when permanent badminton pole cores and lines were added to the Iron Horse Gym when it was time to refinish those floors. And so at that time in 2021, when we started this process of the floors over at Iron Horse, there was a desire from the Iron Horse Middle School staff to put in the permanent badminton equipment and the lines because they were seeing an influx of popularity of badminton at their programs. And so the school district and the city was able to share in the cost of the floors, including installing the lines, installing the pole cores. And upon completion of the gym, badminton was actually moved out of Gale Ranch and down to Iron Horse. And subsequently, we moved it to instead of Tuesday nights, we moved it to Wednesday nights, but then kept the Sunday program at the Iron Horse Gym during that time. Also, by moving it to Iron Horse, we were able to offer the weekday open gym year round, because when we were renting at Gale Ranch, they actually didn't allow for the weekday rentals at that time. So it was only offered for about 40 weeks out of the year instead of about the 50 weeks out of the year. And so, and at this time too, the Pine Valley Gym does not have permanent badminton pole cores or lines, but when it's time to refinish those floors, that would be something that city staff would engage with the Pine Valley staff and the school district to see if that's something that they desire, and ultimately sharing the cost with the city. All right. And so this next slide that is on your screen, it is a little different than your packet. I realized, thank you to one of our commissioners, that I had a wrong date on there. So I'm just going to own it right here. Badminton was in your packet listed on Tuesdays volleyball was listed on Tuesdays when volleyball open gym is actually on Thursdays. So my apologies for that. Yeah, I updated this. So your packet that you received was incorrect. I updated it for the slide tonight to try to make it as clear as possible. But yes, the information on the screen is correct, but what was sent to you in your packet was incorrect. Okay. And so upon the move to Iron Horse, open gym badminton became increasingly popular. And so at this time, we decided that, we needed to look at the usage and the availability of the gyms. And so we added an additional night Saturdays for 9 months out of the year. And then on the other 3 months out of the year, which is during summer, we decided we were going to do volleyball because volleyball is incredibly popular. And especially with some of the college age students, those young adults coming back, there is a high demand for them to play volleyball during that time. So we felt that was in our best interest so that we can provide a variety of activities for all members of the community. And so, as I mentioned on the slide here, you'll see that this is only the open gym schedule. So I don't want it to confuse you like, oh, this is the only thing that we have in the gym, because that is quite the opposite. So this is just open gym. And so in addition to open gym, we also have rentals. We also have programs. We also have classes and leagues. And so, for example, on your schedule, it looks like, gosh, we'll just add open gym on Tuesday nights, but the gym, Iron Horse Gym, is booked solid on Tuesdays because we have rentals starting at 5 o'clock. And then we also have youth volleyball classes and leagues that run from 5 to 9. And then we have our adult volleyball league that runs from 6 to 10. And so generally speaking, the Iron Horse Gym is booked during this time of year, which is our impacted season, September to March. It's booked Monday through Friday, 5 to 10 p.m. and nearly all days on weekends between our city sponsored programs as well as our community rentals. Okay. And then just as a note, before we get off of this slide, you'll see that basketball and volleyball is for ages 18 and older. Badminton and pickleball, that's more of a family net sports. And so that's for ages 6 and older. And we did run some numbers just so we can make sure that we have all this information correct. And for badminton specifically, with our participants, our participation numbers, 3% of our participation is for ages under 10 and under. And our 11 to 17 group is 26% of our badminton participation, 18 to 54 is 65%, and 55 plus is 5% of our registration. Now, these numbers can be a little bit skewed just because we offer membership passes. And when membership passes are purchased, they can be utilized for anybody in the family, but we only capture the age of the person who purchased the pass. So just as a side note on that. Okay, so that's a little bit about the open gym, right, specifically. But as I mentioned, we offer a lot of different programs that we in our gyms. And so there's a huge demand placed on our city gyms as there is a desire for classes and leagues for youth and adults, the open gym program, rentals, which include practices, games, and tournaments. And so we are in the impacted season right now, which is September to March, because that's our basketball season. And we do have more availability in the gymnasiums in late spring and summer because some of these programs they're out of season. The weather is more accommodating, and so they're outside more. So it's baseball season instead of basketball season. And so we do see some of that flux in looking at programs as well as potential rentals. But overall, it is a very well rented facility with programs being spread out throughout it as well. And with our finite amount of space, it's always a challenge to try to get people who are interested in renting the gym to get them space in the gym so that they can provide these different programs to our community, because we understand that we don't have the resources to offer all of the different activities and programs to the entire community. So we rely on our community partners to be able to provide those opportunities for our community as well. And so currently we have 11 community groups who are renting our gymnasiums. That includes one co-sponsor group that is that's St. Joan of Arc, which is basketball. And then we have 8 resident organizations as well as 2 non-resident organizations that make up that 11 total. And we do have 3 non-resident groups who have requested time, but we have not been able to accommodate them because we don't have any available space for them in our gymnasium at this point. And so a big part of the groups that utilize the gymnasium is the gym rentals. And so Iron Horse and Pine Valley, like we had mentioned, are utilized by a variety of youth and adult groups in our community to offer programs. And, you know, I want to own the information on this page and that on this slide, because I understand that the information can be a little misleading, because you look at it and you see the revenue and you're like, great, here's the staff cost. But in actuality, and I want to make sure that I really mention this, is that the cost that is shown on your screen, that is simply for our temp staff. So that does not include any of the overheads that we experience. So that includes maintenance costs. That also includes janitorial. That includes full-time staffing costs, our utilities. None of that is included, because if it's really difficult to grab all that information and parse it out per a specific program, per the hour. And so we understand that is an overhead cost that is directly associated with this. But to get to that exact dollar is incredibly difficult because there's so many variables. But I do want to make sure that we own that, excuse me, and recognize that on this slide as well. And so, the city provides, so when we have gym rentals, the city provides a temp staff member who will open and close the facility and provide support throughout the duration. And so as you can see on this slide, we have been seeing our revenue going up, and we're projected for our current fiscal year for our revenue to go up a little bit and our temp staff costs actually to go down a bit. And the decrease in staffing costs can be directly correlated to our staff doing an incredible job of maximizing the use of our gymnasiums. And so at Iron Horse, like I previously mentioned, we have 3 courts. We want to program all 3 courts, either from a rental or a program or an open gym, as much as possible, because the more that we can provide for the community, the better. That's our key objective, is to make sure that we are providing a well-rounded opportunity for all of our community members. And so continuing on with gym rentals, for me, the next logical question is, well, how much does it cost for a community group to rent our gyms? And so this was taken, taken from our rental packet, which is reviewed annually as part of our fee resolution. And for our groups and individuals interested in the gyms, this is the fee structure that we follow. And for all of our program fees, our rental fees, anything that we are charging somebody a fee for, we try to keep those fees as low as possible. We want, you know, we compare it to like cities, but we want to keep them as low as possible so that we can provide for as many people in the community. So we want to make sure that we are accessible by the masses. And so we do try to make sure that we're comparing those on an annual basis to make sure that we are in line and that we are able to make it as low as possible and hopefully as cheap as possible for anyone who's interested. And so we've talked about the background on the gymnasiums. We talked about open gym a little bit, and we talked about the gym rentals. And so now let's talk about some options for increasing badminton open gym hours. And so staff has researched and considered a lot of different components, a lot of different aspects. And so the demand for additional open gym programs, staff has developed 3 options for consideration for you this evening. And so option number 1 is increase the badminton open gym hours at Iron Horse during the summer months when there is time available. Option number 2 is increasing the next year's budget when we're developing it here, seems like tomorrow, the fiscal year 24-25 open gym budget, and add funds to rent the Gale Ranch gym and increase the cost for all open gym badminton programs. And option number 3 is decrease community gym rentals at Iron Horse and add additional open gym hours. And so next we'll go into our fiscal impact for these 3 options for increasing the open gym badminton hours. And so just to get us at a baseline knowledge for some of the fiscal impacts. So our current cost for individuals to attend open gym is $6 per person. However, and we encourage them to do this, is if they purchase membership passes, it actually, we give them a price break because we want them to come and visit us more frequently and recreate and exercise and socialize, all of those great things that Parks and Community Services stands for. And so we do conduct an annual fee survey and annually. Fees are set at an amount comparable to the other cities, like I was previously mentioning, and we add into that considering staff costs and any other program expenses. And then for the current fiscal year that we are in, the budget for open gym is $80,954 for our entry fee. So that is the revenue, and the expenses is $41,041. Again, this is one of those spots where the dollar amounts can be a little misleading if we don't mention again that the expenses that are shown, that is just for temp staff. That does not include any janitorial, utilities, program supplies, public service maintenance, any of our parks and community services oversight, any of our marketing. So that is $41,000 is just spent on temp staff to actually run the program and oversee the program. Okay. And so now we'll go into, now that we have the baseline knowledge on some of the fiscal impact, we'll go into the fiscal impact for each of the options that I previously mentioned. And so for option number one, to be quite honest, this is probably the easiest one for us to implement, because it's adding in open gym badminton hours at Iron Horse Gym during the summer months when we already have space available. And so we're not displacing anyone. We're not reallocating anywhere. We're just saying, hey, we have this identified space that is open. Let's put badminton in there. And so this would result in a revenue based on the attendance level and the fee of $6 per person, and an increase in expenses would be realized at approximately $19.25 per hour for each temp staff. And so without exactly knowing how many people would come and how many weeks we would offer it, we would need to do some more research on when that time is available and for how many weeks. I can't give an exact dollar amount, but we can extrapolate out approximates with this. Okay. And then option number two, this is the proposal or the consideration to put forth a recommendation in the 24-25 open gym budget of adding funds to rent the Gale Ranch gym and increase the cost of all open gym badminton programs. And so the rental rate for Gale Ranch is $146.18 per hour. And we need 4.5 hours for badminton to rent from the gym, from the school district, to include setup and takedown. And so when all of this is added together, the expenses, including temp staff and rental cost, equates to approximately $739.81 per day, or approximately $31,812 a year. And this is for 43 days, just to add that extra tidbit in there. And so we would in order to maintain the Parks and Community Services Department's approved cost recovery, we would need to, if we go with this option or consider this option, we would need to increase the per person cost to approximately $12 to $15 at both Iron Horse Gym and at Gale Ranch in order to cover the increased cost of open gym badminton. And then also, as consideration for this option is, since this is not a joint use facility, we would need, as staff, to purchase supplies in order to run the program up there. So including a laptop so that we can actually process the membership passes and do all of those things, as well as some different nets to be able to operate in that facility. And just as a side note too, for this option, staff has not explored the availability of the Gale Ranch gym with the school district. And so that would be something else that would need to be considered if this option is chosen. We would have to make sure that it's actually available with the school district to rent. And we would also need to see if they would allow for weekday evening rentals during the summer. And then option number three for the fiscal impact for option number three is decrease the community group gym rentals at Iron Horse and add an additional open gym badminton hours. And so staff does not recommend exploring this option because, as we previously mentioned, the rentals are complementary to some of our city programs that we already offer. And so they are serving a large portion of our community just in a different manner that we as Parks and Community Services does. And so the rentals serve participants in youth and adult sports through nonprofits and other groups. And so the funds generated by the rentals help offset the cost of operating the gym, those costs of utilities and maintenance and janitorial, all those things that we've been talking about tonight. The gym rentals do help offset that and helps us be able to provide low cost city programs like we were talking about before, making sure that we're keeping the program costs as low as possible so that we can be available for the masses. And then if this option is chosen, then we would need to find a way to offset the loss in revenue somewhere else within the Parks and Community Services Department in order to maintain our department's approved cost recovery. So with that, that concludes my presentation for open gym and badminton this evening. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I have backup with Jennifer Galt, who is our sports supervisor as well. So if needed, she and I will hopefully be able to answer anything that you may have.
Thank you so much. Comprehensive view of badminton. You said you had more.
Oh, you don't even know how much more.
No offense to all your badminton fans. Do we have any clarifying questions to start with? I've got one speaker, and that speaker would be Commissioner Owens.
Hey, Becky.
Hi.
So I had a page full of questions. You answered most of them already.
Okay,
so.
great.
I'm still trying to understand.
Okay.
Well, here, I'm going to start with option one, and then I'll go to option two. So do we anticipate that increasing the hours under option one, that there would be significant overhead costs as well, or are those kind of already accounted for just by having the events there?
Sure. So the overhead costs, there's not going to be a lot more overhead cost in option number one, because we're going to pay for the maintenance of the facility. We're going to pay for the utilities and such. And so there should not be any other additional maintenance costs unless there's additional usage in the gym. That would be the only thing, but that would be minimal.
Okay. And then also, I guess is the idea that we would just start earlier. It seems like they go pretty late already. It seems like it's mostly younger people who are going. So
yeah, we would still need to flesh out all of those details on when we could offer it. But like right now, we have a lot of basketball rentals in the gym, and we don't have as many basketball rentals in the gym during that time. So we would see what, if you will, chunks of time are available right now that the basketball groups are using, for example, and what hasn't traditionally been used, because we rely on past information to help guide our future and help us best project for the next year. And so we would utilize all of that information to help us try to provide as much.
so
as
no
possible.
midnight badminton then.
I mean, unless that's something that the commission wants to propose tonight, we're all ears.
Just getting started, maybe with a few years experience. And then option two. So I'm still trying to understand why we would need to increase fees. It says 12 to 15. Why would we also have to increase the fees at Iron Horse? Is there some agreement or?
No, we went back and forth on this. And so we would have an additional $31,000 in expenses. And so we would need to make sure that we are able to cover that plus a little bit more, so we can make sure that we're maintaining our cost recovery within the department. And so we thought about, well, could we just increase Gale Ranch and let that be a standalone program? But then we're like, well, we're setting that program up for failure.
Right.
If that's the only program that is $12 or $15,
Yeah.
people are gonna be like, you know what, forget that program. I'm gonna just go to the $6 one. And so that was one of those considerations. So if we were to only increase Gale Ranch, it would actually be closer to that $20 range so that we can maintain that cost recovery. And so by spreading the wealth, if you will, across all of badminton, then that's how we were able to get it down to a lower dollar point. And that $12 to $15 range actually is pretty in line with some of the private badminton facilities in the area for their cost for entrance. And so we felt comfortable that we would be in line and we wouldn't be too high or too low, and we would spread the wealth across all of badminton.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is there a reason we didn't do that back in 2022 when they were already at Gale Ranch?
When we were doing that, when we moved it down from Gale Ranch to Iron Horse, I'll own it because I was the manager at that time. I was like, hey, here is an opportunity for us to save $32,000 annually. So when you multiply it year by year, and it costs about $110,000 to redo the floor and put the equipment in, buy the equipment at Iron Horse, we split that cost 50-50 with the school district. So we paid about $55,000 for that. We were making money, if you will. We're not making money. We're in government, right? But we were, we weren't spending as much after approximately 18 months.
Gotcha.
And so it made financial sense for what we were trying to accomplish and keeping our budget where it is with our approved cost recovery.
Gotcha. Thank you. That's all my
You're welcome.
questions for now.
Okay. Vice Chair. Thank you. And actually, to clarify, government is where we at do make money.
Well. Fair point.
Thanks, Becky, for this presentation. Couple of questions, actually, one of the questions that I had, that you just explained, because I was going through option 2 and you said approximately $250,000 for both, so that is you're normalizing the cost, although I don't know that it cost that much. Gale Ranch will, you're normalizing the 12-13 cost.
Exactly.
But if we do that, we're realizing that all of a sudden somebody feels like, oh, my cost goes double. I'm using the same facility,
Mhm.
same thing, same time, everybody, my paying buddy are saying, and everybody paying double.
Mhm. Everyone's
If I
paying.
just ask the question, like, why am I being asked double? If I'm using the same time. same
Sure.
service?
Yeah, absolutely. The cost would be double, but it would be fair across the board for all badminton.
I get it.
And so the way that I would answer it if I got that call from somebody from the community is, hey, we listened to the community. They wanted more badminton hours available. Then this was the only way that we could do it. And so we heard the community, we took it to the commission, they provided feedback and recommendations on this. This is what we did. It was the only way that we could add more open gym badminton hours without severely impacting other groups within the community, because that's our goal, is provide a wide variety for the entire community. And so this is the way that we can do it, by renting the facility from the school district.
Right, so I mean, I see here Iron Horse and Gale Ranch, I don't see Pine Valley here.
So,
If we add that, should that lower the cost a little bit, because that's the lower cost?
well, at Pine Valley, we don't have the permanent badminton equipment. So we don't have the pole cores in the ground. So we would have to use portable. And when we did that previously, the community didn't like it. They told us not to do it. Because with the portable badminton stanchions, you can't get the nets taut. They're not at the exact height because of the eyelets and things like that. So, and we have to put tape on the ground. We would actually have, I think at this point, we don't even have our portable equipment that we had years ago, because it's been so many years since we offered that type of program, because the community, I mean, if I'm being a little harsh, they hated it. It was not well attended at all.
So in the mix going forward, if we go for the option 2, that means Pine Valley is not being considered for badminton at all.
Not at this point, because we don't have the permanent equipment. However, when it is time to do the floors at Pine Valley, that is something that staff will engage with the school district and that staff to say, hey, is this something that you want? And so then at that point, we could consider having badminton over at Pine Valley with space allowing.
So if we go out with option 2, I would say socialize this price thing. It's very, very quality. Give them feedback on that. But all of a sudden, somebody, if I'm playing, all of a sudden tomorrow I come and I have to pay double on that. I would say, why are we not doing it? Right?
Sure.
So I would strongly suggest that we need to socialize it heavily, as well as give a lead time that from this day to happen or something like that.
When you say that, to let them know when Pine Valley would be available?
This price.
Oh, sure. Okay, yeah, absolutely. If
If
this,
it's like $1 or $2, I don't think anybody
Sure.
would mind, because
Mhm.
without playing badminton, that is doubling, even more.
Right.
than double,
right.
Right?
Yeah.
So that would be a shock, and rather giving the shock, I would say we should just.
Yeah, we would absolutely let the community know, well in advance of any increases.
Last thing is, I'm looking at the differential thing, and I see the residents and non-residents. Do you have any percentage of how many non-resident communities on a regular basis?
And so with the, sorry, I have so many notes up here. Let me make sure that I have the correct information. And so so we do it by groups. And so we have the one co-sponsor group, which is Centerville based. And then we have 8 resident organizations who are currently renting the gym. And then we have 2 non-resident organizations who are renting the gyms. I don't have the number of hours. I can ask Jen if she has any additional information, but we do have the 3 groups that we have not been able to accommodate, and those are all non-residents. And so Jen gets the information or the request from the groups, and she does her best to allocate it. And I'll see if she would like to add any additional information on that, because she handles all of our gym rentals as well.
May I ask a quick clarifying question?
Yes.
Is there a standard time frame within which price increases are communicated to the residents? In other words, do we give them 60-day notice? Is there a standard timeline for price modifications?
Well, really what drives us on these fee increases specifically for this one is going to be the approval of the budget. And so if the budget is not approved by city council until, let's just, go worst case scenario, the end of June of next year, then these fees would not start on July 1st, because that would be unfair to us. And so we would get what we generally do, like about 90 days, about 3 months. And then we also try to tie it in with our activity guide as well.
Okay, so once the budget's approved for a price increase, it's a 90-day notification to the public, within which that time the price stays at the previous, and then 90 days from there, it goes to the open.
Approximately
Okay.
90 days. It's not a
That's-
steadfast 90
Okay,
days.
I wanted to get that clarification.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
So
think
that's
Kathy may
excellent.
want to add something into that as well.
Yeah, I did want to add something because Commissioner Meacher, your question, I thought it was important to make sure we got this clear. So this idea to normalize the cost of badminton across the 2 programs actually came from the badminton group themselves. They were interested in it because if we tried to charge the direct cost, just fully loaded playing a rental, it was just too expensive. It was like $30 or something. It's not, no one's going to do it. So it was actually their idea, which we didn't think was bad. And the benefit to them is the more playtime, right? So right now we have too many people and they have to wait a long time between games. That's the reason they are coming to the commission and asking for this, because they don't want to wait. We have the times, they're there, but they have to wait a long time. They don't get a lot of playtime.
Right.
So the hope would be by getting a second space that we could spread that use out. Now, we don't know. I mean, it could be either incredibly popular, in which case the price increase was adequate and would be good, or it could not work and they could all, not come and the numbers could all come down.
Right.
But we wouldn't know until we
Right.
try.
The only thing is that, as I said, like if it is $6 to $9, okay, that's it. When you make it to $6 to $15, that's a shock. That's again, as you said,
Yeah.
we'll
No,
see that.
Very
We'll
good
see it.
feedback.
Yeah, but because I have a follow-up question, should I ask the question before we go there?
Well, is it a clarifying question or a program question?
I don't know, it could be the middle because I really don't know.
Let's come back to that. 'cause
Okay,
you have
all right,
public
sure,
comments,
sure,
so I'd
sure,
like
sure,
to-
sure.
Instead
I'll
of
come
going
back.
deep into it, let's go with any
Questions.
clarifying question. Commissioner Hobson.
Thank you, Becky.
You're welcome.
So I was curious about the agreement that we have with the school district. It's
Okay.
my understanding it's Iron Horse and Pine Valley,
Correct.
correct? So we're bringing in Gale Ranch into this equation here.
No, we would be renting Gale Ranch. It would not be a joint use facility.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So has there been conversations about inviting Gale Ranch into this school district agreement?
I'll let Kathy take that one.
That's an interesting one. The way that those original joint use happened when the construction was happening. So the city put in a chunk of change, money and resources to build the gym. Those other 2 gyms were built completely by the school district through the conditions of approval with the developer. So we don't have any skin in the game. So they have no reason to want to joint use with us on those. It is something we could probably try, but it would be a loss to them. Right now, they generate revenue. So if they joint use with us, they lose revenue. So it's not
Okay.
a lot of reasons.
Okay, I was really curious about that piece of it. The other question I had was about Sunday. So Sunday, we have a morning, 8:30 to 11:30.
Yes.
And then we also have pickleball in the afternoon. Is there programming going on in the middle?
Yes.
That, okay,
Yes. So currently during basketball season, St. Joan is there and they are running their basketball league during that time. That's their games on Sundays.
okay. All right. That's all I have.
Okay, and we do have public comment, Gary? Yes, you're right.
Hi, I'm Gary Chapin. Good evening. It's good to be here. I was just thinking, we're a city. We have a lot of entities around the city that are part of us, that are always wanting to be part of it. Have we ever talked with Sunset Development and have we ever talked to Club Sport about their vacant floor times or anything like that? I mean, so many other things out there that might be available to be able to expand in if we can't find other things. Or get somebody to go in with the city. Sunset Development has a lot of cement property out there that could be converted in some way, and they're not using it. And maybe Fred's goodwill, they would get involved and say, we could put some pickleball courts in the bottom of one of their buildings that's empty. So just a thought.
Any comment? No? Okay,
Would you like me to respond?
yes, please.
We do partner with Bishop Ranch Hall and Sunset Development on all kinds of different things. And they are definitely a supportive partner. We haven't pursued them for pickleball or an open gym program, so it's interesting. I do know they have lots of big development plans in the future for lots of their buildings, so there's maybe a little less space, but definitely something we could look into.
All right, so do we have any other questions from commissioners? Do you have any questions? Okay. Commissioner Lee?
It's not really questions.
Well, it's time for comments and yeah, we're done with clarifying.
All right, then I'll,
Done with public comment. So it's time to let loose.
okay, great. Yeah, I think I want to follow up on what Vice Chair Mitra was saying in terms of the cost if we went with option 2 and basically doubled the existing fee. Yeah, it would definitely be shocking to the current users. I think that doesn't quite fly. It also, quite honestly, it bothers me that the rate we would charge would be so close to the private club rate. I mean, obviously you could consider that the market rate and you could consider it equivalent, but I think it's important to offer a lower cost option. So I'm, very much in favor of probably option 1 because it's probably the least disruptive and the easiest to do to the people who use it, to people who want to use it, to us, to everybody. Pretty much everyone wins under that one. So anyway, that was my feedback.
Oh, okay. Commissioner Green?
Well, we go now, I'll go last. So,
No, I'm gonna go last.
okay, so hey, Becky, I got some.
What do you-
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, first of all, thanks. And the report was good, so it helped me out a lot. It made me think. So a couple comments, what I would ask as we come to reports to the commission, it'd be helpful if we identify in the master plan, if there's a link at all. It'd be great to say, we're going to talk about something that relates to this point in the master plan, because I still think it keeps us focused on, we're still developing the master plan. So that'd be my first recommendation as we go along and as we bring reports to the commission. Where's the link? What are we trying to do? And it shows that we're still focused on the master plan. The second thing I have is I'll address the cost later on. I would develop principles on as we have people use courts or as we expand courts. Like I was thinking about what's our principle of doing this, right? We have more demand than we have courts. And then if we expand the courts, here's what we're going to do. We're going to try and keep our costs as low as possible.
Mm-hmm.
We got to maintain our 50% cost recovery, right? We have to, we would prefer to go San Ramon groups over outside grid. That way we're defendable as we make decisions along the way. So what's our principles we're using? If we decide to go with option 1, 2, or 3, probably not 3, but you know what I mean? So that I think that would be helpful as we think that through.
Okay.
I did think we didn't address high school gyms. I didn't ask my question. So I'm sure there's a reason why the high school is not an option, but I know they got a ton of gyms up there, but the coaches probably use it for their revenue producing programs. So
Yes,
yeah, so that's
you
what
are
I thought.
correct.
The other feedback I'd have is, I know I don't know if they're variable costs, but the toilet paper, the staff, but it would be interesting if we could come up with a percentage. So when we have this conversation, the average percent cost would be 2% or whatever that may be, because it helps identify, what our total cost would be involved. So, and I know it's hard to do, but if we happen to run into it, or maybe when we do the finances, I think it'd be, or the rates would be helpful to know what that standard percent is. So we can, as we go along and look at these, we could adapt that. The other feedback I have is I personally think you do a combination of 1 and 2. First of all, let me address cost. So if you think about pickleball, or if you think about basketball, or you think about badminton, you have 4 people playing. Basketball, you have 10 times 6, 4 times 12. So, there's a point where, I think we need to find, I understand the cost increase, but also the demand with, that we have in this city for that. And I also think we need to make it as affordable as possible. So one option would be, let's make sure we recover the cost. And once we talk to the school district and whatever that may, or the 50% threshold we need to go after, $10, $12, and just make sure we're defendable on what that cost is. And then the other thing is there an option for outside, right? And can we use outside courts to maybe make it free to people, or maybe $2? But can we provide an option outside on some of the schools? I don't know if we can or not, but I was trying to think, how do we make it cost efficient for every residence? And we're not even talking about, and I know the wind blows, but I played badminton outside before, not very good, but yes. So anyways, it's just an option of how do we look at outside?
Sure.
And so, was the last thing I said, the last thing I would tell you is that my recommendation is I would do a combination of 1 and 2 option, and then we'd have to measure the demand, right? So, one we could do right away. If we do right away, does demand drop? Because I looked at your numbers on badminton, right? So you're saying your badminton is badminton. We have average attendance of 56. You have 36 as capacity. So your net balance, right? So, and that's where we work the badminton. So if you do option 1 right away, you can judge and say, how aggressively do you go after option 2? And then if we go after option 2, I think we try and do it, and then have a backup plan just in case the demand falls off, right? So, but I guess we can't sublease it, but how do we publicize it, socialize it with the folks that drive badminton? So you can always do a survey on it from a cost. So that's my feedback on, as I thought about, the good news I would tell you is we're trying to come up with third options to meet the needs of the community. And I like that all the options you guys came up with, I just consider outdoor too, to try and keep it cheap. Once again, I'm not a badminton expert, so hopefully that helps. But I'm just, every time I look at this, I'm like, okay, so where's this tie into the master plan, right? So it's super helpful. Okay, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. So just to continue that resident, non-resident one. So let me say what I wanted to say is that, so if it looks like we do charge them more, which is we always do in every program on that, but here we have more demands than the supply, right? Why don't we give a preference? And that's what probably we do. I don't know. Why don't you give a preference to the residents and fill the demand first before we go to non-resident?
For open gym specifically.
Open gyms, yeah.
So it's tricky. And so, yes, we want to serve the San Ramon residents first. Our open gym program also attracts our working population here in San Ramon as well, because that's our tagline, right? People play, great place to live, work, and play. And so that's one of our challenges as well. If we were to, and I'm not saying that we can't by any means, another consideration, if we go to a resident getting preference, then, that's going to slow down the time to get into the gym, because we're going to have to verify IDs, and this is for children as well. So they're not going to have IDs. And then everything that is completely overcomable without a doubt. And so when we did pull the numbers too for our badminton program, 60% of our current participants are San Ramon residents. So it is the majority of them. And so what I want to make sure that we're doing too is that we're able to, provide a good, healthy program for all of our residents. And, you know, sometimes it's those non-residents who live here in San Ramon that, you know, they're here with their families, they're here with their coworkers and people who that they want to participate as well. So we could absolutely consider, you know, it's certainly something to consider.
Okay, thank you. And the last one, I just make a comment there about the option 1 and 2. I actually agree with Commissioner Braid here that I think we need to look at option 1 and 2 in combinations rather than one over the other, and try to see how do we bring down the cost when you change the cost, right? I do personally feel going from $6 to $15 will have some pushback. Some people will not like it, and we will see the drop of the participations. They will probably go to a private one if there is pretty close to the private one, probably. I mean, I don't know. So I would say if we can consider option 1 and 2 combination of that and bring down the cost around $10 or around that, something like that, probably that will be more considerable. $6 to $9, $10 is still considerable, I would say personally. So that's one suggestion that I have.
Thank you.
So I also like option 1, and I'm kind of liking a little bit of where the discussion is going down at the other end of the table. I have a volleyball player in the house, and so her experience has been waiting to play. So, and it's really not $6, it's $8 when you sign up online.
Okay.
So I think others need to understand there's some fees involved here too, when you register online. Now, she doesn't have a card, prepaid card. So, you know, what does that average out to? I should have asked you that. If you get a card, is there where you can get like 10 times to come? What does that end up costing?
I think Jen has that information off the top of her head.
So if you can go passes that are 1 pass, 5 pass, 10, 20, 40. If you get up to 60 passes, it brings it down to under $5 a visit.
Okay.
And then we're pushing those passes more because if they come into the community center and buy those multiple passes,
Mhm.
one, they get the price break, but also they can avoid those fees if
Got
they
it.
pay with cash or check. So-
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, because I'm not sure if the commissioners know that there is a fee if you go online to pay for this. So it ends up being $8, not $6, for a one-time play. But what I liked for us to consider, and I like this outdoor idea, especially in the summer months, whether or not that's at Sunset Development parking lots or wherever, if it's at the grass. I know we have an outdoor volleyball pit here, so maybe that could be an option for us to consider in the summer. We could add more badminton opportunities on Saturday night. Volleyball is currently using that June, July, August, correct?
Correct.
And in the gym, but maybe badminton could be outside too, so they could share, and you could add a little bit more opportunities. So that's really, I kind of like option 1, just keep it simple. And badminton has more slots on here already than any of the other groups. There are less players. I was really appreciating what Commissioner Breed was bringing up because I was thinking the same thing. Volleyball, you have more. Basketball, you have a lot more. And so there's more bang for your buck when you have these other games and less so with badminton. So anyway, I'd like to give them more opportunities, but I also feel like we have to be fair to the other groups. And I like option 1 with thinking about outside opportunities during the summer.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
Commissioner Owen.
Thanks, Will. So I think I'm in favor of option 1. I think it's probably the simplest here. I don't like the cost increase. I think it's doubling it, I think, is a little bit of shock to the system. I do think too, if we go with option 1, there's nothing that stops us from, if the demand increases, that we can come back at some other time and change it or go with a different option. So, you know, I think you go with what the best option is now. And if it's different in a year or two, you can go with that. And I think, yeah, you should definitely be exploring other potential options as the city grows and we need more, you know, opportunities like this. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, I've got a few a few questions. First of all, my understanding was that as far as the outside option goes, that's been discussed with the participants and they don't like it.
That has been the conversation in the past. I personally, and I don't think Jen either, has had any of the very recent conversations regarding that. But yes, traditionally that has been the feedback, is that they want to be inside the gym because of the wind, because of the heat, because of the sun.
Yeah.
All of the things that we know. Yes.
Right, right. And if people want to go outside, all they gotta do is go down to Target and buy a net, put it up in the park and they can play. I mean, it doesn't really need to be anything that we need to help them with. I mean, they can do that. Okay, so how long has the $6 fee been in place?
2 years.
Okay, just 2 years. Okay. And I guess this question has come up before and in the past. Normally with season tickets, you don't offer a discount on season tickets. The reason you do a season ticket to an event is convenience. Yeah, you don't have to buy one off. You have a package. You can go in without any. So, I mean, what was there any consideration of just, not having a discount for the season pass, but just it's a convenience for the residents?
Well, with most of our, and I'm sure Jen will have some feedback on this too, with most of any membership passes that we have in our department, we try to make it an incentive for people to come and attend our programs, because the more you buy, the cheaper it is. It's similar over at the pool. It's also similar at our teen centers for the drop-in passes. And so that's kind of what our passes have been. Could we change it? Absolutely. I mean, we can always change things, especially with, the support and the feedback from the commission. So it would be something that we could look into. I do think that we would get some pushback from the community, because specifically badminton, they are the population that utilizes the membership passes the most. And so if they went from a 60 pass, which cost under $5 a piece, and then we're saying, hey, now every time that you come, it's going to be $6. Well, then when you multiply that out, it's going to be for 60 passes. Now it's going to be, $75, $80 more. And so, when we're talking about the pushback of increasing to $12, that we may have some pushback on that as well, but certainly something that we could look into.
Okay.
Becky,
'Cause
if
it
I
could-
can I just add something really quick? Sorry. And one of the things, that's a great point, Commissioner. And one of the things when we talked about with these membership passes years ago, when we started to dabble with it, was we wanted to encourage people to buy the passes, because it was also less work from a staffing perspective. So that was kind of why we were thinking about the discount, because if I can sell a 10 visit pass, I only have to interact with this customer once, and I can make that form of business, and then they can carry on for those 10 visits, compared to, for example, at the pool, this is where it came up, where if they don't buy that pass, then I have to engage with that. I get the opportunity to engage with this customer 10 times as they come through the door, compared to them just swiping and going in. So that was some of our logic back when we kind of established this, was to really encourage them to do the passes, because it's more efficient for them, like you said, but it's also, it's a better practice for us from a front counter perspective and a customer service perspective, because then it's just less work on that front end for those things. So that was a logic that we used, and kind of where we went down the road with that. But it's like Becky said, it's certainly something that if that's what the commission would like us to consider, we can
Well,
we can
I'm
look
looking
into
at
it.
TSA versus TSA free versus
Right.
clear.
Right.
You pay a little bit more, but you get a
I
benefit out of
understand.
it.
Right.
And if you get swipe access, that's the benefit. I mean, the
Right.
benefit is you just walk right in. You don't have to interact like that. Or that we could look at some other benefits that, maybe you get priority court time
Right.
if you buy the passes rather than, a discount. So we don't have to, go through that. And it's just $6. It's not $6 an hour.
Correct.
Right. And it's not $12 an hour. It's just $12.
Correct. So you
Okay.
could be there for 3 hours, and it's up to you how much time you play based on the number of people who are there.
So you're down to $4 an hour if you have 3 hours.
Yeah.
So we sell $4 an hour rather than $12. That would be something to do. Trying to see, and I'm assuming that we had the breakdown of age, 11 to 17, 6+ to 11. So anybody under the age of 17 needs to have a parent with them.
A guardian, yes.
Okay, okay, just wanted to check to make sure on that. All right, I think that answers most of my questions for that. But yeah, I would encourage some of the benefits that we see, from a pass rather than getting a discount, because and like I said, in most situations in the arts, when you buy a season pass, you get a benefit out of it. Maybe you get a quicker entry, you get a separate entrance, you get better access, you get better seats, et cetera, things like that. Sports events too, you don't necessarily get a discount. In fact, you may even pay more to get that benefit, but it's a benefit that you see has some value and some worth. So that might be something to take a look at as well.
Okay.
All right.
Thank
So we don't need a motion, just a recommendation, right?
Yeah, I think so. If I might clarify, what I think I heard was everybody's pretty much thinks option one is great. So I think as a clear feedback for staff, we should go ahead and plan for option one, which is to put some of these extra hours in the summer when we've got extra space. I got a little bit of mixed review on option two. And so that might be something that staff could explore as we go into budget process, because it is budget contingent, and see if that's something we can fit in or not fit in. But the only way that I'm thinking you all thought it was reasonable is if we could get that price a little lower, if we could make the numbers pencil out.
Well, I would be the one that would differentiate on that one, because I think option one gives you a quicker fix, right? Which is addressing the immediate need. The long-term view is expanding the courts themselves. And if I'm not mistaken, it was determined that the increased cost would be acceptable if there was increased court time and availability.
I'm just trying to repeat what I thought I heard.
No, but I'm asking that, I mean, that's what I thought I heard too, is that the actually community of users said, you know what, that cost would be worth it if we had more time and more availability.
One of their spokespeople who met with me with council member Veros. So I don't know if they truly speak for the rest. So maybe the better answer is that we would survey the existing badminton group to
okay.
see how they feel about a fee increase such as that. And if we get positive feedback, explore it for budget next year. If we get negative feedback, maybe we can let that one go because they're not going to support it anyway.
Well, then that solves the problem of court time, doesn't it?
I like Will's idea. I'm in favor of the $12 too, but I think that I like the idea of increased benefit. There's a possible way to do that. And I think surveying is the right thing to go do. Right? We need to make decisions based off the data, and we should see what they say from standpoint, cost standpoint. And the reason why I looked at $12 or $10, whatever it is that their only other options is a $15 option in Dublin. So, and once again, we got to maintain our 50%. So I like that with the option, other benefit.
Okay, so the recommendation that I'm hearing, including from Director Hyman, is that immediate consideration would be to option one, to provide additional court time under this existing structure with a view to look toward enhancing the court availability on the professional level in Gale Ranch. But to explore that from a budget standpoint, as well as an availability of court standpoint, and to bring that forward in the budget process, which, well, we're looking at 24, 25 really. So within the next 6 months, maybe come back and let us know what that looks like.
Yeah, I think that would be what we would do, but we'll talk to the existing badminton community first, see what they're interested in, and if feasible, we'll try and put it into the budget, and the budget comes to you guys in the big broad scope, usually in, I want to say April.
Yeah.
So-
Yep. Is that clear enough direction?
I have what I need. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good seeing you.
Okay, Now we go to 8.2, which is the 2023 Summer Program Review. And Andrew and Amanda will come up and tag team us.
All right, good evening, commissioners. Thank you guys for having us this evening. My name is Andrew Mendez and I oversee the youth programs and summer camps for City of San Ramon.
My name is Amanda Tugwell and I'm the aquatics coordinator.
So surf and turf.
I like that. So kicking us off, we're going to speak a little bit about before camp begins, and this is our Party in the Park. So Party in the Park is a camp fair, which was held on Saturday, March 11th from 1 to 3 p.m. at Central Park. And although there was wet weather, the event was very well attended, with approximately 300 people in attendance. Parents and kids had a great time visiting the San Ramon Community Center, and participating in fun interactive activities while meeting camp staff and contract camp instructors. Party in the Park was an interactive event with over 25 stations, including independent contractor booths, parks and community service programs, and activity stations. Families are provided with a camp pamphlet and calendar and a treasure hunt map upon check-in. For every station visited throughout the event, the participants received a stamp on their treasure map, and at the end, they could turn in that treasure map for prizes. So diving right into the meat and potatoes of summer camp. So this is our summer camp overview. As you can see on the screen, we had 4,976 registrations throughout all of our summer camps. Thank you. Thank you. And that was 109 more than we had in 2022. You can see extended care registrations there as well, 531 of those. Our extended care is programs that are offered before camp begins in the morning, in the middle of the afternoon for lunchtime, and also in the afternoon after camp ends. As you can see also, 383 summer camps were offered, and a breakdown is there in the pie chart of these different program areas, with our sports, with 138 camps offered there, next being enrichment, and so on. So this is a breakdown of camp participation in the different program areas. And this is by age. So as we dive a little bit deeper into each of these program areas, we'll take a closer look at middle school and high school ages later on in the presentation as well. Camp Central. So this is San Ramon's flagship summer camp program. It's a flexible full or half-day program, which provides fun, educational, and active experiences for children all summer long. Each week you choose a morning and or afternoon camp, as well as extended care options that you might need. Great for working families. Camp Central offers many different camps to choose from, including visual and performing arts, sports, and enrichment. So I want to point one thing out here on our bar graph, and that is you may look at from 2021 to 2023 and see that it's a bit flat there. As we go through the presentation this evening, we're going to talk a little bit about how we've transitioned not only from mainly being at Camp Central, but also expanding our programs out to different locations throughout San Ramon. It's very important also to look at, as you can see from kind of pre-pandemic, the numbers are higher than the post-pandemic ones as well. And that's because we actually reduced our camp weeks in total. We previously were doing 10 total weeks, and then we reduced down to 9 total weeks. That was mainly attributed to the San Ramon Valley Unified School District calendar, only allowing for 9 weeks now for the summer. So that's why you see that little dip there post-pandemic. So these are the San Ramon summer camps I mentioned before. So camps that are not part of Camp Central have some unique attributes. So these camps could be located much closer to where you live in San Ramon. They could and are only offered a portion of the day and have unique elements such as something that might be at that location. So for example, a tennis court, a swimming pool, something like that. So something that may not be at the Central Park campus. These camps do not offer the extended care services mentioned before and do not offer links from one camp to the other during that same day. As you can see, camps are beginning to grow in popularity with the addition of Doherty Station Arts and Community Center for summer 2024. Additional opportunities are going to be possible using that facility as well. One thing also that I just wanted to point out, as you can see, we jumped in 2022 to 2023, the number of camps offered and the number of participants didn't rise at kind of that same percentage. There's a few reasons for that. One of the things that was that also stuck out was we saw the popularity of it in 2022 when we really wanted to infuse in lots of camps. Some of those camps didn't run. So although we did offer them, they may have not ran and may have canceled. A good example is our tennis camps. Maybe we offered 3 different tennis camps on 1 week at a certain location. We may have had to consolidate those 3 into 1 to accommodate folks, but weren't able to get all 3 of those in that particular week. So you see that big jump in camps. That's one of the reasons why the participants may have not caught up with it just yet. All right, enrichment camps, one of my favorite. So what's an enrichment camp? You can see here in the top left corner, that includes things like public speaking, engineering, cooking, chess. If you take an enrichment camp, typically you're going to learn a type of skill, and by that into camp, you kind of have a new skill or a new tool in your tool belt. As we transition into the recap of each program area that Summer provides, these slides are going to cover each program, including the camps that were offered through Camp Central, as well as the additional locations through the community. So as you can see here at the pie charts below, we kind of broke it down by number of camps and registrations. And you can see, for example, number of camps being in blue and in green, the San Ramon summer camps. So for this particular area, still very popular with Camp Central, and we're starting to slowly get more camps for our summer San Ramon summer camps. Next up is our sports camps. So our sports camps utilized a variety of sites throughout the city, including Iron Horse Gymnasium, Central Park, Pine Valley Gymnasium, Rancho Park, Athens Downs, just to name a few. In 2023, 138 total camps were offered with 1,920 total participants. Excuse me, 1,921 participants. Sports camps are a robust part of both Camp Central and San Ramon summer camps. This is mainly attributed to tennis camps, which 48 of those were offered in 2023, which took place at sites other than Central Park. So as you can see here, there's a little bit different of a breakdown between the Camp Central camps in the dark blue and the San Ramon summer camps in the light blue. Our visual and performing arts camps. So in 2023, the Doherty Station Community Arts Center experienced a delay in construction and was unable to open its doors to camps and summer as planned. However, the department worked together to identify new locations for each of these camps that were displaced. Overall, we were able to make it a success, with many of those camps being transferred over to Camp Central, as well as other locations. 62 visual and performing arts camps offered in total, which was an increase of 23 additional camps that were offered in 2022. So 36 of those 62 were visual and performing arts were offered through Camp Central. Staff adjusted to the construction schedule and were able to identify the alternative areas as mentioned before. 26 of those visual and performing arts camps were offered at satellite locations such as Doherty Valley Performing Arts Center, Amador Rancho Community Center, and Windermere Ranch Teen Center. Participation did increase in this area from 479 participants in 2022 to 608 in 2023, a 26% increase. All right, now for our little peanuts. The preschool camps. So our preschool camps focus mainly on ages 3 to 5, and they offer age appropriate activities like social development and experiential learning. These camps are primarily offered over at Forest Home Farms. And for 2023, we were able to offer 9 camps, one for each of those 9 weeks, versus the 6 that were offered in 2022. You can see that the additional weeks obviously helped with an increase in registration, whereas we were at 85 total registrations in 2022 and jumped up to 140 for 2023. Next is our nature camps. Nature camp returned this summer with twice the amount of weeks offered based on popularity. So 6 weeks were offered versus 3 in 2022. And these were half-day nature camps, which took place both in June and July over at Crow Canyon Gardens. Campers ages 6 to 11 enjoyed nature in their backyard as they explored and participated in fun activities, which included things like scavenger hunts, learning about different ecosystems, recycling, and sustainability. And this one's for Commissioner Breed over here. And this program had a total of 86 campers, and the nature day camps met goals set in the master plan by providing programs that connected people with nature. All right, next up, and this one here is kind of the feather in our cap for summer. So I'm very proud to announce that this is our parent feedback through our camp surveys. So our camp families are sent a survey at the conclusion of their camps. The survey is sent out via SurveyMonkey and contains a variety of quantitative questions as seen on the screen, as well as a few qualitative questions, which they can actually write their feedback in. All quantitative questions were based on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being excellent and 1 being unacceptable. I'm proud to announce that all categories scored at least a 4 or higher. So, we were talking about, so these surveys were distributed each week to participating families via email with follow-up thank you emails at the very end of summer. We are working on ways, though, to try to gather more responses as we go into next summer. Hoping to gather more and more feedback is going to be great for us. And next is a program that's very near and dear to myself. I actually run this program myself on Thursday afternoons, followed by the volunteering portion. This is our Leaders Training program. And so this program provides 13 to 16-year-olds with a 5-week training program on how to become a recreation leader. This is followed up by the summer volunteering at programs such as our Adventure Day Camp, Crazy for Sports, preschool camps at Forest Home Farms, just to name a few. Those who complete the program receive a certificate of completion, which outlines how many hours they actually volunteered, as well as letters of recommendation if they do need those later on for things like college, school, or clubs. I'm very proud to announce also that we've had a steady growth from 2020 till 2023. In 2021, we had 19 participants. 2022, we had 44 participants. And in 2023, we now have, as you can see, 50 who volunteered for over 3,500 hours. So kudos to those young people. They really, really helped out quite a bit at camp. I'm now going to transition over to Amanda, who's going to kick us off here with our teen camps.
Thank you, Andrew. Next, let's take a look at our teen camp offering. The city was excited to see the demand for teen programs to return this summer. Teen summer camps are broken up into 2 categories. The first are teen enrichment summer camps, which are provided through independent contractors. These are hosted at Amador Rancho Community Center and Windermere Teen Center. These are half-day camps that are offered from 9 to noon or 1 to 4. Participants have the options of enrolling either in a half day or the full day, depending on their interest. A few teen enrichment camps include engineering, cooking, animation, movie flicks, public speaking and debate, and drone aviation. The second camp is Studio 925, which is the city's in-house teen camps led by summer staff. Studio 925 is a camp that runs all day and offers teens fun outdoor activities that provide socialization skills and build confidence. Campers get to go to the San Ramon Olympic Pool weekly and also get to go to other locations for field trip events, which included volunteering at the Contra Costa Food Bank, going to Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, Dave and Buster's, as well as the Oakland Zoo. Feedback from parents stated that it was a great place for teens to have a healthy and fun summer. They enjoyed cooking with their friends and, of course, meeting new ones. Next, let's take a look at how the teens show up across our other teen offerings in the summer. On the graph, you can see the ages range from 11 years to 17 years. Along with the city's teen enrichment camps and Studio 925, teens are participating in our swim lessons, aquatics, sports, and arts camps. The city is also seeing teens participate in classes and events that aren't technically classified as our summer camps. We heard your feedback and questions from last year, and while the city doesn't typically include programs aside from aquatics and summer camps in this presentation, we wanted to provide some additional information on the variety of teen programs in addition to the summer camps. Teens have a variety of options and classes and events to participate in throughout the summer. These classes and events include badminton, tennis, pickleball, CPR and first aid, driver's ed, dance and music classes, as well as dive-in movie nights and the back-to-school pool party, all show teen participation. You'll start to see a decline around age 15. This is the age where teens typically will look for summer internships or jobs. College classes at community colleges, internships, and volunteer opportunities have become increasingly popular during summer months in recent years. Let's go ahead and take a dive into aquatics camps. In 2023, 7 different types of aquatic camps were offered between the San Ramon Olympic Pool and the Doherty Valley Aquatic Center. The city works with independent contractors to offer artistic swimming, formerly known as synchronized swimming, SEAL Team Scuba, and springboard diving camps. The city and Bonacera Tennis partner to offer the hybrid tennis and aquatics camps, where campers play tennis in the morning and enjoy afternoons by the pool. While 26 camp sessions were originally planned for the summer, a few camps had to cancel due to instructor illness or instructor conflicts. Despite that reduction in number of camps, the overall camp attendance increased. We specifically experienced a 12% increase in the in-house camps offered in 2023 compared to 2022. The in-house aquatic camps continue to be community favorites and offer a wide variety of opportunities. The Junior Lifeguard Program is a fun way for teens to connect with other teens, all while learning leadership and lifeguarding skills. The Star Guards Camp is another exciting one that offers a different theme each week, which activities and projects are then based off of. Our themes this summer were Junior Jedi Masters, Mystery Inc., Edible Engineering, Water Splash, and World Explorer. Next, let's take a look at our Learn to Swim program. Swim lessons are provided by the city's contractor, Elite Swim. This was Elite Swim's 5th year offering swim lessons, since no lessons were offered in 2020 due to COVID-19. Swim lessons saw a 10% increase in participation this summer compared to 2022. Aquatic staff worked with Elite Swim to expand from 229 weekly swim lesson sessions to 260. This included additional weekday and weekend at both facilities in order to provide the most options to the community. The city continues to see high customer satisfaction with the swim lessons, as the program maintains 80% of respondents rating the program as good or excellent. Now for the Splash and Play Water Discovery class. This is the 3rd year of the program, and it is taught by the aquatic staff in both of our play pools at both facilities. It is designed to give children who are fearful or uncomfortable in the water an opportunity to become comfortable in the water through positive experiences. Aquatic staff incorporate games, songs, and focus on having fun so the children get comfortable in the water and then are able to transition into group swim lessons offered by Elite Swim. The demand for this program continues to adjust. Out of 25 sessions scheduled over the summer, only 7 sessions received participant enrollment. The aquatic staff will be meeting with the city's swim lesson instructor later this year to discuss potential options for the future. Also offered at the pool during the summer are recreation swim, lap swim, and the city's dive-in movie nights. Recreation swim, or rec swim, is open to the community to enjoy everything the pool has to offer in order for everyone to have a great time. In addition to free swim, all of the city's other pool amenities are available, such as the Splash and Dash, which is a giant inflatable obstacle course. You can see that on the bottom left picture. Diving boards, play pool, free swim, and other use of inner tubes. Rec swim is offered at the San Ramon Olympic Pool in May, and at the Doherty Valley Aquatic Center, it's offered only in the summer months. This is the 3rd year the new play structure was featured during this program. The large bucket feature continues to be a favorite among participants. You can see the bucket in action on that top right photo that is before you. Lap swim continues to be very popular at both aquatic center locations. Our dive-in movies are offered at both locations as well. You can see an image of that on the top left. The city offers 3 dive-in movie nights per summer. They offer pre-registration for this event in addition to walk-up registration. Our walk-ups for each dive-in movie exceeded 100 people per night. We featured Despicable Me and Top Gun Maverick at the San Ramon Olympic San Ramon Olympic Pool, and Puss in Boots at the Doherty Valley Aquatic Center. All movies had lower attendance due to cooler weather this summer that we experienced. Next, let's take a look at the inclusion services that the city has to offer. Inclusion services encompasses those accommodations made for participants with various disabilities and considerations for participants with life-threatening medical conditions. Part of what draws people to our program in the city of San Ramon is not just the quality of programming itself, but the level of customer service and care taken to ensure that people of all abilities can participate in the programs of their choice. Types of disabilities that the city has accommodated: vision, hearing, neurological impairments, autism spectrum disorders from mild to moderate, ADHD, developmental delays, learning disabilities, and Down syndrome. Let's check out how inclusion participates on this next slide. Inclusion services are services that are provided to campers who need additional assistance, staff, or resources. This summer, the city had 43 participants accommodated in 131 different programs from that list that I just provided. In 2023, requests for accommodations actually decreased by 15 individual campers. However, the amount of classes each participant took almost doubled. In fact, 7 participants who needed the support of additional staff were enrolled in 52 camps and programs, including extended care supervision, swim lessons, and camps offered outside of Camp Central. Next, we'll look at life-threatening medical conditions. These include severe food allergies, bee stings, seizure disorders, and diabetes. 48 participants were accommodated in 145 programs, and the administration of medications form is required for all participants bringing medications to camp and instructs staff in the assistance of administering those medications. Now, the city would not be as successful in our summer camp offerings if it weren't for such incredible staff. It takes a village. Here's the breakdown. 61 part-time staff assist with our camp programs, 110 part-time with aquatics programs, 50 leaders from Leaders in Training assist with our in-home programs, which brings us to 121 amazing staff and volunteers. This what makes the programs so great and keeps the families coming back year after year. That concludes our presentation. Andrew and I are happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you, commissioners.
Irrespective of my question, that was perfect. So thank you for that. Just a quick one. Actually, you answered already one of the questions because I was looking at the Camp Central drop in participation and I had a question why we didn't get back to pre-COVID numbers and you already answered that. So, next one's another summer camp. We see that number of camps increased, but participation didn't. So we brought it up. So 2024, are we considering to continue with the same number like this year or can you consider it? Because I think you talked about consolidating some of the tennis programs. Are we considering that?
So as we start planning out for Camp 2024, one of the things we try to do is reach a certain capacity number. Usually it's around 75%. So as you're going through all of the camps they're going to offer, I think a good example of that is as you looked at 2022, we had a really high capacity number that year. And as we went into 2023, we may have not reached that exact capacity as we had in 22. So looking at those as we plan 24 will really help us, will guide our decision making into maybe not offering 218, maybe we rein that back a little bit. And we possibly even get more participants by reining that back a bit.
The last one and a quick one about the camp survey, and great. I think we should all applaud your very high score, and these numbers are, everybody will be happy to get this number. So thank you for getting that and congratulations. Quick questions. During the survey, did you guys ask for any suggestions on that? Did you get anything really important, like wow kind of suggestions that you can consider for the future programs?
So for our survey results that came back that were qualitative, the ones that came back that folks actually wrote in, I would have to take a much more deeper dive into that and then get back to the commissioners about that. Nothing that I could think of off the top of my head right now, though, unfortunately.
Yeah. That, I mean, this is a great way to get the feedback who are participating, who are sending their kids to the programs to listen them, hear them, like what else do they want? I mean, this is a perfect score. So, but still, what else, how else can we do better? Thank you.
Could we get a copy of those qualitative in our next packet?
Sure, we can include it in the rec report.
Cool, excellent, excellent. Commissioner Breed.
Thanks. Hey, you guys, good job. And this is, the one thing I'll echo that Commissioner Meach just said is the survey scores are really good, and you guys should be really proud of that. So you asked for feedback, so some feedback for you guys. One, the preschool program, extending it to 9 weeks. I think it's really important, especially with more people working from home. So we're sensing, that trend. And I think you guys adding those 4 weeks I think it helps our parents, our community from standpoint of making sure we have those programs for, to help our parents who are working at home. I think it's awesome that you did that. So I think that's a big add, and I'm sure it had a big effect. So as we do that, how's that affect? And I don't know if you got any feedback in that sense, but I'd be very curious to see if that continues to work. And I think that we time, we look for when school's out, we time it perfectly. And then, how late we go in the afternoon. So I think that's really good. The other thing I was going through is we offer a lot of variety, and I know our scores was really high in that. But can you walk me through? Well, you don't have to walk through, but you just got to make sure there's a process that there's so many camps, and you even mentioned that people didn't sign up. Just how do we just streamline what's working, what's not working to be a little more efficient? And I think your last slide talked about the aquatics one where you had less and your numbers went up. So, there are camps that really resonate. And then, because I think from a standpoint of staff time and stuff, can we be more efficient? It's just, and my last one is, I kind of have a passion on this one. So I looked at the teen numbers and I just think they're disappointing. I'll be frank with you. And not just you guys, us as a city. And I think it's a part of our population that we got to figure out and we got to serve better. So, and I hear that the 16 and 17-year-olders are working and getting internships, but I'm going to challenge us to say we got to do better. Can we do something better for that community? Like on Friday nights, can we figure out a way to maybe turn on the lights at Rancho, give them a place to gather during the weekend instead of, because here's where I'm pushing it. As we did teen interviews, the biggest thing is school stress, right? Now, who owns that? Parents, school, I don't know. But, how as we as a city, can we figure out to get something different during the summer for that age group? And we, and not that we're not trying hard, but how do we work with teen council? I challenged them the other day on how we find a better solution to provide an outlet for that age group, call it from middle school to high school. Is there something on Friday nights or some other programs that we got to find them something to do to get them out of the house, get away from homework? So as a city, I just think we really need to try there. So super hard thing to solve for. I think we'd work with teen council, try and get some feedback, but I just think it's something, I think it's really worth us going after because it's a really important part of our community that I think is underserved. So, and I'll help, but just to, but it's just some feedback on it because everything else is kicking butt and, we just got to go get them. So, all right, thanks.
Thank you.
Commissioner Osborne.
You want clarifying questions now, correct?
No, just go
Are
for
we
it.
going for it?
Yeah.
Okay. Team camp
It's open
programs
camp.
is where I was focusing on too. And so I'm just really curious about the enrichment courses seem to be when they're younger, there's more participation and then they kind of really drop off. So what are we offering them? Maybe that can be part of our survey is what is it that they're looking for? Maybe we're not offering the right things.
You're saying maybe a survey.
A survey around the youth enrichment offerings. What are they looking for? And because it looks like when they're 11 and 12, they're signing up for them, but then when they turn 13, 14, 15, they're not interested. So, we're offering speech and debate. What else are they wanting to learn besides just sports and aquatics? Because those are the popular things in the summer. But thank you guys. Great work, hard work. And I'm really proud to be part of this community with all these great summer programs. I mean, everyone loves it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Because I got a couple questions. Please.
So I just want to start off by saying great presentation. I didn't realize that there were this many programs within the San Ramon over the summer, but just getting down to the teen programs that all the other commissioners have mentioned, you guys mentioned straight off the bat that there's specifically a drop at the age of 15 years old, specifically because these students are taking opportunities with internships and college courses and as such. So I was just thinking if there was a possibility to offer programs through the city where students can maybe go to local small businesses and shadow those working there, because that's the type of opportunities that we're looking for at this point in our schooling career. We're trying to make decisions about what it is we want to pursue in the future. And while things like sports and aquatics are a great way to release at the end of the day, it's not something that we're looking forward to doing in the morning. We want to be as productive as possible in the morning so that we can get to that relaxation at the end of the day. And to that end, I think one other thing, I think Commissioner Breed was mentioning that we should have small events on Fridays where teens get together. I think more than that, what would be really productive for teenagers is that I find that a lot of my peers and myself head to the libraries over weekends to get productive work done. So potentially offering those productive work days where there's I've read somewhere recently that there's been productive workspaces where people just get together and they work. So it's like a collaborative workspace where people are just working in corners. They have materials and resources like a Wi-Fi and pencils, papers, dictionaries, whatever it is they need. And so teenagers that way, they're kind of more inclined to attend these events, but also it's a way for San Ramon to kind of give these students what they need. And basically what they need is that support so that they can be more productive during the day and relax at the night. And then the other thing I was going to say was about the surveys. So you guys mentioned that you were only able to get 190 responses, which is actually a great number. But I'm currently doing statistics and I'm actually working on collecting survey responses at the moment as well. So just some ideas I had was sending these paper surveys home with your students, because sometimes I remember when I was a kid, when I would get papers, I would be on my parents I need to fill out this survey. This is homework, even though it's not actually homework. So it just increases the survey responses, and also maybe getting to those parents while they're waiting to pick their kids up as well. I think that's also a really great time to get to them as well. That's it. Great presentation. Thank you.
Great feedback.
Great, yeah,
Great.
great feedback.
I think we have some public comment
It's coming.
coming,
Like the mail.
and then I'll hold my comments till after the public comment. Okay. Come on down. Come on down. Come on, guys.
This young lady has some great, great ideas. I
We
have
have a teen council.
there, over the years, we've worked very closely with young ladies in San Ramon because our daughters grew up here, and business owners and, business leaders need to be involved with these young kids. Maybe programs for them would be to have some local business leaders coming in and speaking to them, talking about employment, talking about how things, helping them develop who they are, or when they go forward into a job or through college. Because you're in college, as our daughters went through, they were always looking for internships, things to do. Encourage them ahead of time. We worked very hard to help that happen. So with this program, I think it's a great idea. Just have them get involved with the local city leaders and business leaders. And I think they'll volunteer to do it because we're all trying to grow our young adults into productive individuals. So thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, great. I couldn't agree more. As a matter of fact, I did have a summer intern at my company that came from the teen council. So we tried to involve the teens into that. Couple of questions. I'm looking at the sports camps, and I've got a question and a statement. My question is Nerf? Can you tell me what that is? I mean, is it like hoops? Is it like Nerf baseball? Is it Nerf dodgeball? So you don't get hurt? I mean, what? Nerf dodgeball? What is the Nerf? And then my other question was, I don't see cricket on there. Is it because there's a separate cricket league that takes all the kids to play cricket on their own, or do we not have enough enrollment for that? So those are my two questions on the sports, and I got a couple others.
I'll take the Nerf one. I think
Okay.
going up about that. So the Nerf camp it's cool. There's no way around it. It is really neat. So Nerf is things like, you see the squishy
I know what
footballs,
Nerf is.
The Nerf is the little soft dart guns that they shoot. things
Okay,
like that.
okay.
So we run this program in-house. We've created the curriculum ourselves, and we actually have these just huge followings of kiddos that come not only for summer camp, but we've had it for spring break camp as well. And the kids absolutely adore this camp. It's fun. It's thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
And it incorporates in all these different elements of these fun Nerf things that we've gone out and obtained. And now they get to come to us and get to use all of them throughout the week. So absolutely, they absolutely love it. Again, it's one of those kind of thinking outside the box camps that we thought of, and it's gone really great so far.
We used to play Nerf basketball. In fact, we had broken toes playing Nerf basketball, so it can get really fun. I just was curious about that. And then the cricket. Do we not have enough participants, or do we?
Yeah, we've tried it a few different years, based off feedback from the community. We've tried it, and then we've also had local groups come in and try and teach it, and there's just not a demand for it, through us. Now,
Right.
they have all the different fields and things around.
The
and-
Ceremony
Yeah.
Cricket Club has their own. That
Yeah, so
draws a
they
lot of-
tend to go, register through their organizations, not through our rec programs.
Okay, okay. And then just a comment, when you present surveys, it's always nice to have some sort of basis for understanding when you're talking about statistics. So I mean, what was the past numbers, right? I mean, how does this compare to past years? So to have some context around statistics is very important, because just the number of 4.32 may look really good, but if the year before it was 4.45, then we'd have to ask the question, why did it go down by, that? So context would be good for that. And then the other just comment I had, there was a recent article regarding the changing demographics, and actually the fact that there may be lower enrollment at some of the high schools in San Ramon because of the changing demographics and the fact that a lot of the youth population is getting lower than it was, kind of in the Python days of the last, 7 to 8 years. So that may account for some of the change in some of that as well as the internships, looking for summer employment, college credit, et cetera, things like that. So be interesting to see if that was one of the factors for that. But, otherwise the variety and the inclusion for 91, if we add it all together for 90 plus, young people that, perhaps don't get a chance to participate. That was great. Any other comments?
Thank you.
Good.
Good
Good.
job.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
I have that idea.
All right, we've got 9.1.
Would you like me to cover a few highlights from our rec report? Yeah. Making
Well,
sure.
did everybody read it?
Yes.
Well, any questions?
Let me just tell you a couple of great
Okay.
things. I got to brag about my staff who do such incredible work. So really quickly, the Live Well Resource Fair, if you didn't see that, over 300 people in attendance, fabulous at the senior center. Apple tasting at Crow Canyon Gardens, 180 people. This is big. We all said Crow Canyon Gardens was important and nature is important. It's in our master plan. It's where everybody wanted us to go and people are going to show up for it. So exciting about that. The new teen self-defense clinic with 24 participants, also uber cool to see teens out doing something and having a great time. And then Stacy gets a shout out here tonight for coming up with that idea that we put a prompt on our registration form to ask for donations. We do scholarships. We've gotten donations from the San Ramon Dublin Women's Club and Chevron before to help us do that. We started to run out of funds and Stacy said, why don't we add this prompt? So I don't have any great reports of what we've collected so far, but I like the out of the box thinking and we're going to see how that works. So, and then lastly, I had to of course point out that the Bollinger Canyon fountain is functional. So there's a detailed report in there so you can read more about how much they went through to get it to functional. And now we're on to the next one. That's it.
And I'm happy if anyone wants to get a picture with me. I totally said, oh, so I'm so proud of you.
Okay, all right. You guys, you want to get a picture.
Can I-
Roseland, you have a question?
Yeah, no, I don't have a question, but I want to give really big kudos to Stacy because that was a question that was asked during my interview was how to offset some of the costs for scholarships for my Parks and Community Services interview. And so thank you. That was wonderful.
No, what wasn't in here is no graffiti.
Yeah.
Report, how about that? Hopefully not change it.
No graffiti?
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Yeah. That's the school's back in session.
You can say.
Is there a correlation? I think so.
I don't want to go there. That's-
Idle hand.
No. I knew you'd say something. We know.
All right, any other congratulations on the fountain?
Love that.
Yeah. All right. Any public comments on the staff reports? Going once, going twice? Total. Okay, commission liaison reports and announcements. Let's start over on my left.
We start over there because I'm team council. She'll do team council.
So you have no report other than.
No, you can do team council.
Okay, no, okay, then we'll go to commissioner.
Yeah, so commission report, I was off last month, so I missed the planning commission meeting, so I'll definitely start reporting starting next month. One announcement, our non-profit organization Agamoni is hosting the 7th year Durga Puja, and I will talk to you guys separately to give you something what we do.
Durga Puja this year, but not in Central Park. We're doing in Bishop Ranch, 2700, just behind the lawn. That's it.
Part, I went last year because I had no idea what it was going on. Part it took me for half an hour to explain the whole thing.
It takes
Which
a
I
minute.
very much appreciate it. So I'm a big fan of it. So yeah.
It's a carnival time, it's a prayer event, because a lot of things happen, and we have almost 100 people that's volunteering to make that thing happen. And it takes like 6 months of preparation.
Yeah.
It's a huge event, and we expect normally around 5,000 to 6,000 people over the weekend. For that event, coming all the way from Sacramento to South San Francisco, so we get that much. Yeah, it's a big event, big community event, and this is primarily from the eastern part of India, but as well as it also this is celebrated throughout the Southeast Asian community, Southeast Asian community. So yes, so please, I'm going to send email to all of you guys. Please come, drop by, and that'd be great. It's a community event, open event for everybody. So this is October 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Not this Friday, but the next Friday, Saturday. All right.
And you had a great event on Saturday night.
We did have a great event on Saturday night, that is in William and Ranch Middle School. We have a Dandiya event, a lot of people, almost 550 people came in. Full event. That's a great event as well. Thank you.
Commissioner, Youth Commissioner. Give us a report.
So we had a team council meeting in September. Our upcoming October one is going to be fantastic. So since at the last meeting, we appointed committees for the senior tech days and for our industry committees. And then we had already appointed committees for our master's program and outstanding championship award program. And both of those committees have selected their ambassadors and award winner, which will be approved by the team council at the meeting. We also decided to do a event at our respective high schools for Unity Day, where we collect tags for the industry. And Unity Day is just a sort of day we choose to support against bullying. And the team council in the Fort Worth Oranges, who this year will be having tables at each of the 4 high schools that we have the team council members at. So that's Monta Vista, Prairie Lane, Powell High, and DBHS. And we'll also be collecting these tags to actually industry, and then since we wear orange in support of that day, we will also be having a ribbon and handing that out to anyone who wants to wear it, if they don't want.
Why would they not want to wear it on?
Some people apparently just don't want to wear orange.
Okay.
It came up. So
Really?
yeah, she also had like what 25 scouts there in your meeting. So
Yeah.
You did a great job.
Which one? Sure.
So I attended the 4th Tuesday of the month, city council meeting last month. It was a pretty brisk meeting, a little under an hour, so I can only assume all of them will always be that light. Yeah, so that worked out. There were essentially 2 items of note, and really only 2 items, period. One was confirmation of the alternate number 2 to the Arts Advisory Committee that we had recommended at last month's meeting, so that was confirmed. And then the other was approval of some new police officer positions to help the department create a new organized retail theft crime prevention task force. The city actually received a $5.6 million grant from the state for that program, which will last for the next 4 years. And so they want to take some of the current officers in the department and put them on that task force and then backfill those positions with new officers. So the city approved the creation of the new officer positions. But everyone's very excited about it. And they hope to have the task force in place by the Christmas shopping season, optimistically, but possibly January. But anyway, it's getting off the ground. They're really excited about it. They're moving fast. So yeah, that's what I got.
All right, I attended last night's city council meeting, and they talked about the proclamation for October 2023 is as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And we were introduced to the new deputy city manager, Scott Cole, working with Steve Spadovsky. So Scott comes from the city of San Leandro with finance and recreation and police background. and he'll be overseeing the economic development. He'll be the new economic development director as well. And we heard the business for that evening, for last night, was about the introduction of the ordinance for repealing and replacing chapter 12 on inclusionary, let me see here, first inclusionary housing ordinance. So we had our first one in 2019, and the goal is to update our ordinance before we update the general plan. And, you know, in a nutshell, what I learned was if we have 50 new homes built, 8 will be designated as affordable units, 4 moderate, 2 low, and 2 very low. So this was discussion to get that conversation started, and they're looking at priority preferences and policies. So that was the city council meeting last night. And then I also attended the Open Space Advisory Committee meeting on Monday morning. Our committee business for Monday was, we received a presentation from the planning department of year in review of all the projects that they've been working on and what's in the queue. It's quite a bit. And then we also discussed a publicly accessible open space map. And I'm not sure if you guys have seen this, but there is a trails map. I was wondering if maybe we could bring these, Kathy, maybe to the next meeting so that folks can have a copy of this. What we learned is we've been talking about having a map that is online so that residents can really see where our open space exists. And that would include, you know, not just our parks, but our hills, as well as we were considering adding our golf courses, privately owned public access spaces, ranches, things like that, GAD. And what we were learning is that we actually do have a lot of that information already online, and there are different layers. And so we're going to for our next meeting, get more of a list of all the different layers and see if there's anything that we wanted to add to that. And so it was a really good conversation. We've been bouncing this idea around for quite a while, but we have a lot of maps, and we don't need too many, but we need good solid ones. So that was our meeting.
All right, Commissioner Owens.
Yeah, I attended the planning commission meeting on September 19th. It was a long one. I think it was like 4.5 hours. So not brisk. They started off, they received a staff report on the environmental impact report for the general plan in 2040. They also reviewed the draft general plan 2040. They actually have a joint session with city council on October 3rd, or if they did have one on October 3rd, and they continued the meeting until October 17th to, you know, give a decision on it.
Now, that was a long meeting.
Yeah, it was really long, and I'm not done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they talked about affordable housing, and they made a recommendation to city council to change the percentage of affordable housing that would be required in new units from 10% to 15%. And then they also reviewed the new Iron Horse Village plans, but that also got continued to October 17th. So good long one for my first
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Okay, that's why we parsed them.
Yeah.
I did not attend the Arts Advisory Committee meeting. I was out of town and didn't have a backup because you were still out of town. Yeah, Commissioner Mitra was still out of town, but it was the funnest meeting of the year where you select the artists for the galleries for the next year. So I was very sad to have missed it, but was at business meetings in Southern California. So I'm sure they picked them because I would get a vote anyway. So, all right, any other special announcements or anything else for the good of the community or the commission? What are you doing next week? Well, you already got that down. You don't need luck. It's all taken care of. In fact, that's what Dutra Poocher is all about. It's about overcoming and having that confidence. All right, so at 21:18, we will call the commission meeting for the evening.
All right, nice job.
Thank you.